There's a region of northwest China with an unforgiving climate, a high-altitude, wind-scoured terrain where winter temperatures can plunge to minus 25 degrees Celsius. And yet, in 2011, a wine from this unlikely place stunned critics by beating Bordeaux in a blind tasting. This is Ningxia. So how did a desert region in China reinvent itself as the country's wine capital? Why did its winemakers spend decades modelling themselves on the Bordeaux region of France? And why, after proving themselves, are Ningxia's winemakers forging their own path? The story begins in a landscape that feels truly otherworldly. The Helan Mountains rise like a jagged wall to the west of Ningxia, shielding the foothills from the encroaching sands of the Gobi Desert. At their feet lie the Western Xia Imperial Tombs, massive earthen structures that look like weathered pyramids. They are the only remnants of a kingdom wiped off the map by Genghis Khan 8 centuries ago. It is a place of profound history, but a brutally inhospitable climate. The soil here is salty and alkaline, and yet in the 1980s, the local government began looking for a way to transform this barren landscape. They realised that their position on the map lay in the same sun-drenched wine belt as some of the world's most legendary vineyards. Transforming this landscape, however, meant more than just planting vines. It meant reshaping water, soil, and even the economy itself. When the first wine pioneers arrived, almost every vine they planted withered in the dirt. Winters were so harsh that vines had to be buried under the soil each year just to survive. But they persevered. They hired French consultants, imported French vines, and planted classic French varieties. They even borrowed Bordeaux's famous 1855 classification as a model for their own quality benchmark. Meanwhile, irrigation from the Yellow River nourished not only vineyards, but also fields of wheat and goji berries, while vast belts of poplars reclaimed desert land and held back the winds. In time, Ningxia harnessed the desert itself, and the region is now home to vineyards, solar farms, and wind turbines, adding new layers to its identity. Ningxia has gone from a poverty-stricken backwater to a region reinventing itself across agriculture, energy, and tourism, though wine has remained the headline story. For 20 years, Ningxia was a dedicated student, meticulously mimicking the masters of Bordeaux on the other side of the world. To the rest of the world, the idea of Chinese wine was often an object of skepticism, even ridicule. China barely registered on the map for most wine critics. Many simply didn't believe that China could produce world-class quality wine. Then came 2011, the year the wine world stopped laughing. It began in London at the Decanter World Wine Awards. A Ningxia blend called Lan stunned the gala by taking the international trophy for Bordeaux varietals. It was a massive upset. An unknown Chinese label had just outshone established estates from every major wine region on earth. But the real proof came months later in Beijing. In a high-stakes blind tasting, 5 of Ningxia's best were pitted directly against 5 classic French Bordeaux reds. The judges, half of them French, tasted without labels or bias. When the scores were tallied, the results were undeniable. Ningxia took the top 4 spots. The student had beaten the teacher. But here is where the story takes a curious turn, one that mirrors the development of modern China. Success brought something more valuable than prizes: confidence. The winemakers realized that the very thing that made them not French, the desert sun, the annual burial of the vines, and the silt of the Yellow River, were actually their greatest strengths. I've walked through these vineyards myself. There is a strange, powerful energy in seeing ultra-modern fermentation tanks standing in the shadow of those ancient tombs. It's a blend of Silk Road grit and 21st century ambition. Today, there are over 200 wineries in Ningxia, and they are stepping out of Bordeaux's shadow. They are moving away from faux European chateaux and building with local stone. They're championing Marselan, a grape that struggled in France but has thrived in the Ningxia sun and is emerging as China's signature variety. This shift mirrors China's broader journey from imitation to innovation, from following to leading. When you taste a Ningxia wine today, you aren't tasting an imitation. You're tasting the resilience of people who refuse to let their environment win. So, if you're an adventurous traveller, or better yet, someone with an adventurous palate, Ningxia is waiting for you. Come and stand in the long shadow of those ancient tombs and marvel at the transformation of this landscape. It's no longer trying to be the Bordeaux of the East. It's busy being itself. It's just Ningxia.